Hey y'all, welcome to the Mother May I podcast. I'm your host, Whitney Johnson, and this is the podcast you want to be on if you are on a journey towards becoming better, doing better, and wanting to be a better mom. We have our own Facebook community. It is called the Motherhood Circle. Make sure you join. We have polls, we have motivation, we do girl talk, and we also share conscious parenting tips, advice, and resources. So if that's something that you're interested in, head over to Facebook so that you can join our community where we have other women on that same journey towards reclaiming themselves through motherhood and becoming and being better. Today's episode is just going to be about the topic of conscious parenting, right? I think that this is something that's new and something that's trendy, but I don't think we fully have a conscious understanding of what it even means to be a conscious parent. And so today's episode is going to be about me kind of breaking that down and sort of building some type of understanding so that we can start to normalize this word and we can start getting more familiar with that through our parenting. And so today's episode, I want to first and foremost explain what it means to be a conscious parent. Now look, y'all, I know this is something that we done heard people say. And a lot of times, y'all, we think that this is just a white people thing, but it's not just a white people thing. This is a way of learning. This is a way of developing. This is a way of becoming. And when we think about ourselves as adults, y'all, think about some of the stuff that you've had to navigate through, overcome, or learn through. These things you've had to learn or navigate yourself through because of the things that you've experienced or gone through from your childhood. A lot of the stuff that we dealing with as adults, they stem from our childhood, right? Childhood experiences. I remember when such and such said that to me. I remember when da-da-da-da did this. I remember da-da-da-da, right? You can recall some of the things, and a lot of times those things stem from things that have happened in your childhood or earlier experiences in life, right? And so the conscious approach to parenting helps us teach our kids the skills they need to navigate through the challenges of life or the struggles or the ups and downs of life without losing sense of self-worth, dignity, or validation. And you want to do this in a way that they form self-acceptance, self-expression, and feel good about who they are, to where as though when they become adults, they're not growing up saying they got to find themselves. They already know who they are. And so the conscious approach to parenting really helps navigate and dig deeper into that. And it's built on a lot of practices that focus in on rewiring how we view ourselves as the parents of our children and teaching them the skill sets that they need to be successful, healthy, happy adults up until whenever, right? And so a lot of the things that we are teaching these kids, right? A lot of the things that we are teaching these kids involve them being conscious of who they are, accepting who they are, and learning how to navigate life independently. Let's give one example. One example of that is I see a lot of parents telling their kids, or you're not even telling their kids, or bragging about the fact that their kids can sit still for long periods of time. Their kids don't make messes. Their kids, whatever, right? Whatever you want to put in there. And although that's great, one of the biggest pieces that we're missing is, depending on the age of the child, especially when you have preschoolers and toddlers, y'all, it's developmentally appropriate for them to make messes and have accidents. Not only is it developmentally appropriate for little kids, it's developmentally appropriate for adults. Sometimes we making messes and dropping stuff on the floor. But we have the standard that if our children are making messes and are doing and are throwing, we have the standard that if our children are making messes or not able to sit for long periods of time, that there is something wrong. Baby, we have adults who can't even sit for a long period of time. I'm one of them. I hate sitting for a long period of time. Why? We have adults who make messes and trip and are clumsy. I'm one of them. So my thing is this: we have this expectation that children need to be able to sit quietly, not make messes, and all these other standards for what children should be. When the reality of it is, even if they develop those skills as children, when they become adults, they'll still make messes. They'll still maybe have a hard time sitting down and being quiet for long periods of time. That does not change anything, right? And so because those things do not alter or change anything, when we are so focused in on you have to have those skills and you have to do this and you have to do that, we forget that we are also eliminating the process of them developing those skills over a long period of time. And not only realizing that these are skills that are going to take time. Like, it ain't like you become an adult and all of a sudden you don't drop stuff no more. It's not like you become an adult and all of a sudden you can sit still now. Like, it doesn't change. So these are skills that have to gradually take place over time, and we have to be okay with them taking place over time. But for now, as they are children, one of the things that we can do to support them in the most conscious way is to be okay with them making mess. If your child make a mess on the floor, for example, right? One of the things that we typically say is clean that stuff up, myself included. Clean that stuff up off the floor. Why are you making a mess? Y'all know how we go, right? But sometimes the most conscious approach to that is, oh, it looks like you made a mess on the floor. What do you think we should do? A lot of times the kid will either say, let's get a paper towel, or shoot, some kids may even say, you go get a paper towel, you go clean up yourself. But either way, that's an opportunity for you to show them how to clean up after themselves, right? How when you make a mess, you are now responsible for cleaning it up and ensuring that this is safe for the other people that live in this household, right? So instead of just yelling and barking out commands, we're also explaining why this needs to be done, how it needs to be done, and the outcome after it is done. Why are we going through all that? Why are we doing all that, right? The reason why we're explaining all that, the reason why we're doing all this is because we don't want to keep repeating ourselves. We don't want to keep repeating ourselves. And a lot of times, because there's so much clarity and uncertainty, this is why you are repeating yourself over and over and over again. If we just take the time out to fully explain the process from beginning to end, a lot of times that eliminates the guesswork of repetition, and it helps the process a lot easier. Not only that, I'm going to tell y'all this. You may have to repeat it a couple of times in the beginning until it sticks. But once it sticks, it's stuck. You feel what I'm saying? A lot of times we don't even give it a chance to stick because we are not in alignment with the consistency that needs to happen in order for that to occur. You have to develop the consistency and know that this conscious parenting approach has a long-term payoff. You know what I'm saying? Don't think about the right now and, oh, I'm tired. Oh, I don't feel like doing all that. No. A lot of people, what they do is they sleep on the long-term benefits of investing in their children today. You wait until they become adults. You wait until now they grown. Now you trying to teach them all this stuff and tell them how to do this and tell them how to do that. Baby, you could have did that when they were little. But a lot of times what we focus in on is the things that we've learned from our own parents, or parents that we've seen around us, right? We can only go off of what we see. And so a lot of times, especially in our community, we see other parents beating their kids. Hey, that must work. We see other people yelling at their kids. Oh, that must work. Right? And I'm going to tell y'all, from me, I'm an educator. I done seen people's kids who've gotten beaten. I've seen kids who have had parents talk to them. There's a huge difference when they're in the classroom. Trust me when I tell you. There's a huge difference in the children who are only made to listen when they get their ass beat, and the children who know how to listen because their parents have taken the time out to develop the skill for them. These are two different children when they are in the classroom, and I'm going to just keep it real with y'all. So although your child may be a great listener when they're with you, what happens when they ain't? What happens when they ain't? And so a lot of times I know that we focus in, and it's so easy to just follow with what we know. But when we branch out to discover new things, sometimes we lead ourselves into greater rewards in the long term. And our children are the investments that we have to put our time and energy into today if we want to see payoffs in the long run. Don't wait until they become an adult and then decide to start shaping and molding them into who they should be and telling them and preaching at them and telling them all the things they should do. We're not doing that. You can literally start at 2-3 years old, teaching them the skills that they need to become the adults that you know that they're capable of being. But in order to do that, you have to give them the skills to be able to do that. And when we barking and yelling out commands, we're not giving skill sets. We are just yelling and feeding the fire. We're not actually putting that bitch out. We're not putting the fire out at all. we are actually keeping it going. The more and more we yell, the more and more we go off, the more and more we do all these other things, we are keeping that fire burning, boo. But the minute we take the time out and say, listen, I'm about to tell you how this goes. This is how we're not going to do this. Here are the steps to improve it and make it better the next time. Here's why mommy doesn't want you to do that. When we start to answer those questions and really help our kids to get the clarity they need on why, how, and the process to make the changes, we realize that eventually that we won't have to repeat ourselves over and over again. Because there's an understanding, and we took the time out to develop and create that understanding. But a lot of times we tired, we're burnt out, we're exhausted from parenting and doing all the other same things that we do as moms, right? And I get it. I totally get it. And this isn't about being a perfect mom. This isn't about always having your things always perfect with your kids and saying the right thing all the time. This is not about that. This is about putting a conscious effort forward on your end to say that, yeah, this may be how everybody else do it, but I'm going to just try it one time with this situation. You don't have to do it with every situation, but try it with one situation. Just try it little by little by little, because this is the thing. I don't want y'all to think about this conscious parenting approach and like you just got to grab at it and just jump in and just start doing all this conscious stuff. No, it's a process. It's a process. Start with one incident. You made a mess on the floor. We're going to handle this in a conscious way. Start with one thing. Don't try to beat this conscious parent 24/7 all day long when you know that ain't what you know. You have to start slow. And this is why a lot of children don't stick with what y'all doing, because they know you ain't going to stick with it. They know you doing the most. They know you done made this big shift. They know kids are not crazy. And so when they see you making this big shift and this big change, and they don't understand why you're making this big change and this shift in your parenting, they going to be like, listen, sis, I don't know what you think you're doing, but I'm about to show out. I'm about to have this temper tantrum. I'm about to let you know what time it is. Not because they want to disrespect you, but because there is no real understanding of what is okay and what isn't. And so until we develop those skill sets and teach them the things that they need to know independently, we'll keep repeating ourselves over and over and over again. And I don't want that for y'all. And so this episode was about understanding the importance of investing time, energy into consciously parenting our children. Will it pay off tomorrow? Probably not. But will it pay off? Hell yeah. Hell to the yeah. Okay? And if y'all need more conscious parenting tips, resources, and everything like that, follow me on Instagram. I'll put it down in the show notes. Follow us in the motherhood circle. They're there too. Again, this is not about being perfect. This is about taking a step. Sometimes your step is a simple follow. Sometimes your next step is a simple getting into a community of women who are trying. Whatever your next step is, you need to take it, because our children are worth that long-term investment. How can you not? So that's what this episode was about. I hope you guys have a better understanding of conscious parenting. And like I said, join our community. We're here. I'm here. Every other Thursday, we deliver a new podcast episode. So you guys make sure you subscribe, like, and share this out with whoever may need it. See you guys next time for another episode on the Mother May I podcast.